Hello everyone and welcome to another awesome episode of 5 on Friday. So this week we've got Costas and we have Kate back. Kate was away last week, but now she's fighting fit again, which is awesome. So this week we have an SDR from Outreach. We had Tom Castley a couple of weeks ago and now we've got a member of his team. So Ellisif, if you wouldn't mind, can you quickly introduce yourself for those people watching who don't know you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm one of the UK SDRs here at Outreach. Started in February. It's been a crazy wild journey so far in the best possible way, and I'm excited to be here today.
Good stuff. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us. I think, Kate, you have the agenda of what we're going to cover, so I'm going to hand it over to you if you wouldn't mind, and then we can crack straight on.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Alex. So what we're going to do is run through a kind of typical, I would say, Ellisif, sequence of events that you would do as in the course of your outreach. So we're going to focus on an email that you send out, which has a video, which is great. So you've done a video outreach for us to look at and review. And then we're going to move on to doing a call where Mr. Olley is going to be your customer. And then we're going to look at how you interact on LinkedIn as well. Yeah? All right, so let's see about getting the technology to work. I'm crazy that this is put into my hands, but let's see about that. That should be screen 2. Wonderful. Okay, so just let me double check that you can hear it with the sound when I press play.
Nope.
Can you hear that?
Sadly, not this time, no.
Oh, you see, that's my challenge.
So worst case scenario, I sent another email as well that was without the video. So if that doesn't work.
Okay, just bear with me.
Okay, if you want to click unshare, then share again. There's a little box that to hit, and then it should play the sound.
Yeah, I'm not advanced sharing options.
So when you click share, it should say share computer sound at the bottom left.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look at
there
that.
There we go. Thanks
for being the tech support, Alex.
That's okay, Kate. It's not like your company sells technology for a living.
No. Right, this should work.
Only teasing.
Right, so let's have a listen to Ellisif and her video outreach.
Our sales team is expanding, especially in Sweden, and understand you are leading the sales team in that region. Thought this would be a good time to reach out. And with Outreach, we work with sales leaders in companies like Deliveroo to replicate their top reps' performance across the entire team and track what works over time for continuous improvement. So how that works is the platform works directly with your CRM to create a more streamlined process for your sales team and bulletproof follow-up process for your prospects. Forrester released a report in March showing the impact companies have seen after implementing Outreach, including a 387% ROI over a 3-year implementation and a 3-month break-even period. 2 weeks ago, TechCrunch announced Salesforce has invested in Outreach, and we are recognized as a leader in the sales engagement space. Curious if any of this resonates with you, and if so, about your schedule next week for a 30-minute conversation with one of the account executives here at Outreach that would ask you a few questions to get a better understanding of your initiatives as Foodora is growing. You can ask any questions that you might want about Outreach to see if there's some potential alignment on value. I look forward to hearing from you.
Wow, really nice. Okay. Can I ask something first? How do you feel when you're doing video messaging, particularly for prospecting?
I'm feeling confident with it because I used to be an actor.
There you go. So you have an unfair advantage. I think that really comes through, by the way. The first thing is like that energy. So I have 10 SDRs that I work with. And sometimes it can be really tense at the beginning, whereas it feels really natural for you. So I think that's one thing to start off with, right? Really good energy, really like clear. Like there's no boring bit in it. It's like it's a really powerful video message. Yeah, I don't know, Kate and Costas, what do you think?
Yeah, Ellisif, what are you hoping to achieve by sending a video message?
Book a meeting.
Okay, that's the outcome, right?
Yeah.
So the outcome, you want the outcome to be, I want to book a meeting. So the process that goes through your mind is what exactly? That you will engage that person on the basis of communicating information, maybe communicating who you are as a person, just to open up that communication line, or just information about what outreach does, so they can think about it? What's your game plan?
So what I typically do, so that wasn't shared in because I sent an email as well along with that video.
Yeah.
So in the initial, I will reference them as a leader, why I'm reaching out to them specifically. I understand you are leading that sales team, and for example, I could see you're hiring. I'm sharing in a 1 minute 26-second video, can be watched double time if you want, the purpose of me reaching out. And then at the bottom of that email, I said, if this sounds worth your time, curious about your schedule, Thursday or Friday next week for a 30-minute conversation. Look forward to it.
I agree with Alex that the delivery is very good. I just feel that, if I was you, I would probably try to push me more than you, rather than the other information.
Gotcha.
Here's the thing. I don't know how many video messages you get, but I don't get that many, but I get a few. And I can tell you the one that stands out to me is the one that the individual, the way they come across, resonates with me. Like, I could have a conversation with that individual. Usually these individuals are individuals that don't say too many things about their business. Certainly do not use a lot of percentages and things that just doesn't resonate. And I like people that like you, that have a really good personality, upbeat personality and stuff, because it's another pattern interrupt. So if I get emails, the video will stand out. No two ways about it, because it's I will click on the video. Those first 10 seconds, I'm thinking, will I speak with that individual? Or if I pick up the phone, will they just bombard me with a lot of information that may or may not be relevant?
Yeah.
And I think that you do not use your advantage, which is your young, upbeat personality, good delivery, confident delivery. And what you do, you just flip it, too much information, slightly too fast for my liking personally to get everything. And I would completely change that. The approach is, will I want to speak with Ellisif? And did she give me some information to figure out, outreach could be something I want to explore more. It's more of a teaser rather than anything else.
I like that.
Because someone who gets a lot of video messages, and video messages now it's catching on, it's catching up. It's because a lot of people are doing it. How do you break through that noise? You can break through the noise. You, the personality. But that was my feel from the video.
Yeah, I'd reflect and kind of reiterate what Costas and Alex just said. I think your overall delivery was fantastic. The energy that came through was really brilliant. The other specific thing that I would call out that I think you did really well, and I know that we haven't gone into who you were pitching at, but you used a case study that was absolutely relevant to their industry. You used Deliveroo. For me, you just didn't play enough on that. That empathy piece. And I don't mean empathy as in COVID, we've got to be all empathetic and authentic. I mean empathy with the problems that they're facing.
Yeah.
It shows a real understanding of their industry and really piques to think, that is something I've been dealing with today. So when you're throwing out a Deliveroo, we help them solve these challenges. And that's something that I'm really passionate about. And it's something that I suspect that you might have suffered too. So why don't we have a conversation? It's that, and I keep saying this, feel, felt, found. Deliveroo was suffering with these challenges. What they found was by using outreach, they were able to overcome those and increase their reps by 2 times.
Yeah.
And if that's something that resonates with you, then let's explore it further. That, all the rest of it, we do this, we TechCrunch. It was
it's too much.
It's too much. I drifted off.
Yeah.
So that for me, you nailed it with your research. You nailed it with the sort of overall approach. It was just too long and not specific enough and delving into those sort of empathy areas.
I appreciate that.
I think those are really good points, and I made a note the same. 3 hours ago, I got a prospecting email from someone, right? Said, "Hi, Alex. The trigger was wrong, but one of the things that annoyed me the most, it said, we work with AOL. Not AOL, AO.com, right? They sell washing machines. Right? My business does not sell washing machines." And I sent it to my sales team. I was like, "Please promise me none of you ever do this, because generic social proof deters buyers so quickly. So but you smash that, right? We work with Deliveroo, and as Kate said, zone in on that. You've got to ask yourself the question, right? Every single snippet that you put within any communication, whether it's a phone call, a video, an email, a LinkedIn connection request, does every single bit add value? The fact that Salesforce Ventures have invested in outreach doesn't really actually make me as a buyer consider buying into outreach, because it's not related to me. Now, if you were selling to a VC, that might be a bit different. I don't know. But I think for a food delivery company, it's not going to add anything, right? So I think that was the only thing, is those stats. That no one really wants that. You've got to speak in the language of your buyer. Why does you guys getting 50 million or whatever it was from them make a difference? That's the only thing I've really removed.
I'm just going to share this one because you also sent this over, Ellisif, because this is an email alternative, and I think this is worth reflecting on, because I think
this is the first email you sent, right, Ellisif? That would be like,
this is a different company.
Yeah, different company.
Different company.
First point of contact, correct?
This is really personalized for me. I read like straight away, personalized, personality, and you said, here's how we help. 3 really quick bullet points, and then you're done. That, for me, I thought that was a really great email. The only thing again is perhaps the flipping to some of the challenge areas rather than going straight to solution space. But for me, I thought that was great.
Okay.
I agree. When I saw that email, the first 2 paragraphs, absolutely great. You research the individual, you reference what they said in a post, I take it. Brilliant. That is why for me, when I saw the video, I just didn't, it was as if I was seeing 2 different individuals. This is ultra personalized, but video should be even more personalized because you put yourself out there, right? And I love the fact that, the reason I reached out, love to start a conversation between us and outreach, between you and outreach. Again, low friction, trying to get them into a conversation. Absolutely loved it. I agree with Kate. I think that the 3 bullet points, you say things that will resonate, but it will be more powerful if you just say the fact that you're complementing your CRM to ensure that sales reps are selling, not performing tedious duplicate tasks. What's the problem you're trying to solve? What is my problem? If you reference that problem, you bang on. This is one of the best emails I've seen, personalized emails. And at the end, you put some social proof. You work, and I presume that these companies are the same companies. You reference 2 companies. You highlight a couple of the issues they had. Great. That was really good.
Ellisif, can I just ask one thing? Can you talk me through the call to action? Because you're saying, do you have time for a call either next week or the following? Why that call to action specifically here?
So these are one of the ways that the platform works very well for us. So for me as a rep, 90% of the initial email, such as this one, is customized for me, hence why we call it personalization at scale. So the last part of that email is based on a template that has worked based on what top rep performers have done in the past at outreach. So the last part of that email, apart from me referencing certain customers and the challenges we can solve for them in relation to that company, that's me doing the job, and the first 2 paragraphs are my job. So the rest of that part is just simply what has been proven to be most successful based on what we've seen.
Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously that's what you guys do. But how do you feel personally about that? Do you have some time for a call either next week or the following?
I would probably be more specific. And so this was when I first started out. I would now have changed it slightly to, if this sounds worth your time, do you have time for a call Thursday or Friday next week? Or would the potential to seeing this solution over in your business be worth a 30-minute conversation?
I actually prefer those 2, by the way. No offense to outreach. I know you guys have hundreds of thousands of reps using the system, but I actually prefer those 2 that you just gave me, by the way. I don't know what the opportunity is within your business to put that extra personality in, but I think that would almost resonate even more. That would be how I would perfect that email, and you've just done it for yourself.
Yeah, I would give a lot of credits to Mr. Tom Castley on that one. So we are kind of changing a little bit with our approach here in the UK, and Tom is teaching us very much around like the Sandler method, and so those ideas are, yeah, I will credit him for that.
Good. Well, at least I'm not going to get into trouble with Tom because he's highly revered, so that's a good thing. But I think I'd say employ those methods as much as you can, because I think he's right, by the way, and giving you that autonomy, just a bit more precision. I work with you. I've got a team in the US as well, so I try and spot these things. I think those two that you just suggested will actually help you more in the UK. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to do a call. Right? So you have probably the fanciest headset out of anyone. On this. Kate, you've got a nice headset. Costas, are you even wearing headphones? No, I mean, I've just got AirPods, which just let me down all the time. So hopefully this one's gonna be your trusty 7. So you're gonna call me, is that right?
Yeah, and I will call you as Alex, head of revenue and marketing over at Reach Desk.
Great. What do you need to know first before we go into this? How do you sort of plan for this?
So based on the research that I've done now before the call, I understand that you are hiring BDRs in New York. And some of your key areas of focus with Reach Desk is creating a personalized experience so companies can cut through the noise.
Wow. Okay.
I've never seen Alex speechless before. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, Alex, say something.
If my team are watching this, then they'll be as surprised. Let's get straight into it. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you guys do the ring part? Because we are.
Yeah, I'll do the ring. Okay, bang. Phone picks up.
Yeah. You going or I go?
So, hello. Who's calling?
Hey Alex, this is Ellisif calling with Outreach. I am going to be fully transparent with you. We have not spoken before, and this is a sales call, which I bet you are thrilled to get on a Friday afternoon.
Oh, I love a good sales call. And yeah, Friday afternoon is actually a good time for me. So, what do you guys do at Outreach?
That's an unusual response, but I appreciate that. With your permission, I'd love to grab a couple of minutes of your time to share why I decided to reach out to you specifically and ask a few questions for you to see if there's anything that we're doing here at Outreach that might be worth looking into. Do you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah, sure. I've literally got 2 minutes. Then got to hop off after that at past. But yeah, shoot.
Yeah, perfect. So I understand that you are head of marketing and revenue at Reach Desk, and noticed that you guys are hiring BDRs in New York. So we work with sales and marketing leaders in companies like Discover.org and Drift, and typically when sales and marketing leaders choose to bring on Outreach, it's because they found that we have solutions to challenges in one or more of the following 3 areas. So one is they wish they could see what is driving revenue in their sales process so they can do more of that versus wasting time on the stuff that doesn't work. And the second is they want their pipeline to be 4 times revenue target, but it never seems to get there without adding tons more reps. And the third one is with regards to onboarding, which is probably the relevant one for you now. So typically what companies have seen when they've implemented Outreach is a decrease of ramp time from the industry standard 4.3 months down to 3 weeks. I am curious if any of that resonates with you.
Yeah, that you're spot on. We're hiring BDRs in New York and London actually as well. So yeah, we're trying to grow that outbound team because we need to be generating pipeline, obviously. And one of the trickiest parts has been making sure that we onboard, particularly in a remote environment. It has been a bit tricky. Normally we'd be doing the classroom stuff, the whiteboarding, doing it within the office itself. Now, being transparent with you, it sounds like you're quite similar to HubSpot sales, which is what we're using at the moment. So we're using sort of sequences and their dialer and everything, which nicely connects to that CRM as well. So I'm just curious, like what are the things I need to be thinking about if we were to consider taking you guys on, as opposed to using what we're already using?
Yeah, what I'm curious to know is that as you are onboarding reps remotely, you said that was a bit of a challenge right now. Do you find that HubSpot is helping you do that?
I'm sure we get way more out of it. I don't feel like HubSpot themselves are kind of helping us pivot and use it to the best ability. We are using, I mean, we do use a lot of like systems to like record videos and everything, and kind of use Trello boards and everything to make sure that we've got a consistent way of doing it, both in the US and in the UK. But it is quite it's quite old school in many ways.
Okay. What kind of visibility do you currently have into how your sales team is working remotely?
That's a very good question. I can see things like how many dials they're making, how many emails they're sending, their response rates, those kind of things. But I'd say we're probably doing the standard. I mean, what are the things you think I should be thinking about right now?
No, I was just curious to learn a little bit more about it. So we speak to a lot of sales leaders right now, and especially some of our enterprise customers have shared some of the values they've seen with the platform right now. The fact that they can listen live in on calls and they can coach their reps real time, especially for the new hires that have no idea what they're doing. They are so grateful that they have the solution like Outreach right now that can help them do that. Also, to give a bit of a personal story, so we've had 6 new hires here at Outreach over the past 3 months, and our manager has been a star coaching them. But what they can also see, they can see like what type of emails our top reps have sent out that have proven to be most successful within Outreach. And obviously they can see like you are already seeing with like the number of dials they are making, but they also can see what was the response of those dials, like was it a positive, what got the meeting booked, and how can I replicate that for myself. And that also, it comes as like automatically within the platform, it becomes a suggested next step for the rep. So it's a very kind of streamlined process. I'm curious if you would see that in your business, like even the potential of seeing that, would that be worth a 30-minute conversation next week?
It actually would, and I think one of the areas I'd like to zone in on is listening in on those conversations. One of the tools that we have recently been investigating is like Gong, Chorus, and Refract, those kind of businesses. So if you guys have something that would almost be able to allow us to centralize that too and listen in on stuff from that point of view, would be really helpful. So yeah, more than happy. I've got next Thursday morning is free for me. Between like 9 and 11, if we can do that time, and if we could specifically focus on that'd be great as well.
So I will make a note for one of the AEs that will be holding this meeting to address that specifically. I just have a couple of more questions that would help them prepare. Would you be open for me asking that? Would probably take like 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure. Let's yeah, of course.
Yeah, so no, it was just to clarify. So you're using HubSpot currently as your CRM, right? Yeah, and you're also using HubSpot for sales at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. We're using both.
And just to clarify, you had 10 reps?
10 BDRs and then 8 account executives.
Okay, 10 plus 8. And what would you say the split is between inbound and outbound prospecting currently?
Inbound is about 15%.
Okay, 15%. Okay.
So amazing. In terms of the opportunities we generate.
Okay, cool. Yes, I will make a note on that and we'll speak next week.
Brilliant. Looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
How do you feel about that?
That was a bit nervous.
Firstly, yeah,
I was like a bit like spot on. I was like,
Awesome. Well done.
Really good job. Really good job. I actually felt like I was in an actual sales call.
Yeah.
Should I go and get a demo of Outreach? Yeah. How did you find that?
Yeah, no, I liked it. I actually got more nervous than I would normally do on a call. Yeah,
I know, but it's because you're on video, and I think that's a good sign because you didn't seem like that. By the way, when I get sales calls, I love it. That reaction I gave you, I had that last Friday. This is a sales call, right?
Yeah.
I'm calling you on a Friday. I'm like, sick. Let's talk about sales because I like to listen to what other people say so I can teach it. So that is genuinely how I react, and I'm a bit of an oddball, so excuse me for that. So if it caught you off guard, then I apologize. You got the result you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens next for you?
Well, what happens next for me, I will send you over a calendar invite. I would typically, depending on how focused I am, I do it whilst I'm on the call. However, very often I find myself getting distracted trying to send the calendar invite whilst having someone on the call. So I typically do it after. Some within my team would multitask and be able to send that calendar invite on the call, ask you to click and accept to confirm ASAP, and then the meeting would happen. Depending on how much personalization I've done and how much like kind of pain I uncovered, I will probably make a follow-up call the day before to confirm.
Okay. The only reason I ask is because you don't know what my email address is, right? You haven't got it confirmed, so I'm not sure how you're going to get me booked in. That's
Okay.
the only small thing, right?
Yeah. So this is where our sequencing comes in. So I've already sent you an email.
Okay. But I always say to my guys, make sure you confirm it there and then, right?
Yeah.
I've got alex@reachdesk.com as your email. Is that right? I'm going to send you an invite now.
Yeah.
Cool. Just that small step. I'm trying to just make sure that everyone watching knows that small step is the difference between a no-show and a show.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only other thing that, and I don't know if you do this, do you send like an agenda and a summary of what's been discussed in that as well?
Yeah.
Great, because that's gold as well. Those are the two things that a lot of people seem to fail on. They don't get them to confirm it, they don't get them to accept it right now. So that's number one. And they don't say, here's what we agreed, we discussed, and here's they don't give a brief on it. And it means that, I do about 10 to 15 Zoom calls a day, right? So I want to be able to go on and go, bam, I know exactly what I'm talking about, I know who I'm talking to, I know why I'm talking to them about it. So it's great that you do that. So anyone who's watching, that's the way you do it, just like you just described. Costas and Kate, can I ask you to give some feedback on the call itself? Yeah,
sure. I have written down the word love 7 times. I don't think I've ever written down the word love, and I will go through that positive feedback with you. I love the pattern interrupt at the beginning. That straight up, this is a sales call. I love your confidence. I love that you led with problems. I love that you made it super personal. The relevance aspect of it. The minor bit in that I just felt it was a little bit long without getting validation back from Alex. That's my literal only bit, that you'd clocked that he was doing onboarding, maybe just focusing on that aspect, and then you can loop back to other things once you've drilled into a conversation. So loved that you then loop back to that onboarding. It showed that you'd listened really intently to the challenges and what he specifically talked about on onboarding, which is really good, and some great questions. I love framing questions like, I'm curious, because it sounds genuine and it's great. Love again that personalization and close. The only other bit that I would say is that you talked about enterprise customers. Alex, I don't think I'm doing you a disservice here by saying that Reach Desk is not an enterprise customer.
So that was going to be my only real criticism. When you said that, I was like, again, we spoke about that generic social proof before. We help startups scale, right? We're a startup. We've this time last year, I was sitting in this room on my own, right? No other colleagues. Okay, we're a startup. So that's the only kind of criticism I give you, but that's absolutely fine, by the way.
And the other thing that I just really liked, and I wrote back, and I think it's important for anybody listening on this call, that when you've done the close, that final bit of validation and reiteration of making the next session super relevant. Personally, I really like that. It wasn't, right, I've booked a meeting, I'm off. It's, right, we've got the meeting booked in. But to make it even more relevant, I just want to cross-check a few things with you to make sure that they're going to be honing in and zoning in on yours. I thought genuinely, other than, and I'm nitpicking on those bits around, so the validation bit and the bit that it was too long, I thought it was fantastic.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't know what is to be said, because we've connected a few months back, and I've been following you on LinkedIn, and I had an idea of what kind of person you would be on the phone, but that was brilliant.
I'm getting embarrassed.
I'm being very honest, because I think that what is apparent to me, and I think you like learning a lot.
Yeah.
That is why when I see your posts, there are always some learning reference, and for me, that's an indication of a grade A talent, grade A potential. Obviously, you need to find your way in life and work for a company that delivers you, that can develop you. But I think that Outreach is doing a great job. So I'm not quite sure where to actually, because there has to be some critique always, right? So what I want you to always remember is that you have great personality. Your personality literally comes through the call. It's amazing. So you've combined Sandler with your own personality. This is a sales call. Usually we'll call it, would you like to hang up? And I had 3 times this couple of people done it to me, twice or 3 times. There was no personality.
Okay.
They were so tentative. This is a sales call. Do you took it as, look, this is a sales call, and it's the last thing you're going to do. Great.
Yeah.
Because you just put my guard down. It's fine. You know what? It's not going to be like a boring sales. So I thought it was great. I will agree with the social proof, and it's the second time you did it with discovery, organ, drift.
Yeah.
That's not what Alex is interested in. And you did it really early on the call. Like you said, straight after your delivery, you said that we're working with discovery, organ, and drift.
Yeah.
That would probably put me off because he's a small startup. So that's probably something you will fix very, very easily because you had a lot of information and then you made it really, personable to him. You hired SDRs in New York. That was great. The delivery of the challenge that people who talk to you face, brilliant. I really like that. The only thing I would like actually to suggest is you identify that onboarding from afar, it's a challenge. And then you knew that HubSpot, he's using HubSpot. And you went with a question, which I think that it didn't help Alex to elaborate a bit more, to give you a bit more ammunition. He said, does HubSpot help you onboard newbies? Now, it's a small detail, but I would have asked, how does HubSpot help you onboard newbies? Because the how, he will be compelled to explain to you one or two, three things. As it transpired, Alex didn't know how HubSpot helps him. So that might have been a very easy conversation for you to get a bit more ammunition. But like I said, I'm cherry picking here. If that's the one thing that you have to change, you are in a very good place. I love the whole delivery. So just those two things, which are very easy for you to change.
Yeah. I actually do have a question. So because when I was looking at Reach Desk and kind of having some kind of understanding of what you guys do, and I know you're a startup, so the reason I chose Drift and Discover Org is like would kind of put you like so you would be considered when I was looking up on like online, other sources would define you as kind of like a lead generation tool. Hence why I referenced, for example, Discover.org, which is considered a lead generation tool, but it might not be appropriate because of the size of the company still. So it would be better not to, or?
Well, to be honest with you, when you actually said Discover.org and Drift, part of me as a founder was like, oh, sick. Pat myself on that. But what you could have done, you could have done that, by the way, but you could have qualified it a bit better. So we work with other like pure B2B SaaS companies who sell to other B2B companies. That's actually where it did make sense to me, but I would have just explained that a little bit more. So I know Discover.org and Drift are a bit bigger, but we're working with other B2B SaaS companies that sell pure B2B, because that's what I always like to hear, right? Is because we're in that unique environment where we're not selling to like retail or anything. We're selling like to other businesses who sell to businesses.
Okay, appreciate that.
So it wasn't actually too far off the mark. I would just, if you're going to use that, qualify it a little bit and explain why you're referring that.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Thanks.
Okay.
But if you're unsure, you don't have to actually. Social proof comes into play when I'm looking for credibility. Of your solution, or I'm looking to get an idea, an example of how you helped others. Social proof does help early on in the call. But if you're not 100% sure, I would go with like most sales leaders, because these are the people that will actually eventually either buy it or suggest to their company to buy the solution. So just go with that. Social proof comes later on in the call.
Got it.
Ideally.
Okay, cool.
Good stuff. Well, I think Kate looks like she's frozen, so let's. She might be back with us in a second. But overall, as you can hear, like we were pretty pumped about that. That was pretty, like very, very good. So anyone watching, that was an awesome delivery, and to do it off the cuff like that with a mad person like me is a really good job. So hats off to you. Okay, so like we've got another 15 minutes left, so we can use that time wisely. You mentioned that the third step, and Kate's back with us now. You mentioned that the third step to this would be a connection on LinkedIn. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Kate, are you going to show that message, or Ellisif, did you want to bring it up yourself?
Yeah, I can share that. That's fine. I'm not sure it's as relevant to the sequence if I'm picking the right one. So apologies. While I'm just doing that, again, I bounced. My internet connection just dropped. You may have covered this, but when you are picking that proof point, that relevance, if you can pick it related to the problem that you're solving and make it relevant to that. So in Alex's situation, it was the onboarding part. So the most relevant part to that is the scaling for a startup. And so that proof point there is relevant. It was just another piece that of advice I wanted to flag there. Is this the LinkedIn connection?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll let you all read that for a moment.
Nice. Do you do every single connection with a message, by the way?
It depends on the
okay,
context.
What separates the difference for you if you send a message or not?
I will send a message no matter what.
Okay, great.
The type of personalization I do will depend on basically how much information I have on the company, how much effort I'm spending on it. Is also like, is it a target account for me? Like, do I see a lot of potential here? Then I will invest a lot more versus if there's, I will separate them like in half, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. Okay, so what you've done here is you've gone, Pauline, thanks for accepting my invite. So you're following up on the email. This is the bit I love, by the way. I absolutely love this because some people look at, and I always get this right, you guys are sequences. That's right. Yeah, okay, good. Just before I said the competitors.
Cadences.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say it. So
I said it.
A sequence, and I give this analogy all the time, and I'm not sure if Costas and Kate are bored of me saying this. They might have heard me saying it hundreds of times, but like a sequence is kind of like the same as the Beatles writing a pop song, right? There's like a structure to it, right? It's sort of like the verse, chorus, bridge. And what you've done really nicely here is you've referred back to something. People make this mistake all the time. They treat each channel in a silo. Right? They kind of go email, then I'm going to do something totally different here and something totally different here. What you've done is you referred back to the email, and what that does is it almost diverts someone back there, but it shows that you're kind of multi-channel, multi-threading.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really positive point. Can you talk me through the case study that you put in there, by the way, and why that's relevant to this prospect?
Yeah, sure. So I put in I need to put it up here.
I've popped it up for you.
Yeah. So so she's leading the inside sales team, and they based on her LinkedIn profile, I capture that they have high volume of inbound leads. Hence, I wanted to bring in the ad roll the customer story, because they saw what was it? Do I have it right up here now? I don't have it on top of my head. I wish I did. But so ad rolls saw, let's see, I want to put the numbers up here right. Yeah, so ad rolls saw a 42% increase in leads engaged and 50% boost in lead conversion, resulting in 6% ARR after implementing outreach. Hence, I referenced that customer story.
So what was your expectation out of this? Because and the reason I'm asking is I'm a great believer in when I get something like this and somebody's asking me for something, immediately I'm like, oh, they're asking me, they've connected with him or asking me. And I think I'm just interested to know what you want out of this outreach.
What I wanted out of it was to see if there was an interest.
Do you
think? Yeah.
Go on.
That was me taking a bit of a risk, so it wasn't something I would typically write. So sometimes I play around a little bit, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to ask for a meeting. It's LinkedIn. I don't know her, so let's just try something softer. So I'm going to share this, and I share that I've done my research and to see what she says. And I got a really nice response from her, because she wasn't originally looking for any tool, but she was like, this outreach is so personalized that I am more than happy to take a meeting with you. And it ended up in she putting me in contact with the leadership team, and they're now in a whole deal cycle. So it worked for her at least.
Mhm.
But I guess it's probably very individual if it works or not.
Yeah, no, I think it's excellent. I think the only bit that just makes me feel uncomfortable a little bit is that you're immediately asking me for something rather than saying, here's something I'm giving to you. I don't want anything back in return. I'm just, depositing. I think I'm just giving you a deposit. I think you could learn something from AdRoll because of what they've achieved, and then leave it there rather than saying, I'm doing this because I want to determine if you want to buy from me. Is the only.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see that now. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You know what I mean? All of it's brilliant. You're teaching, and then you're saying, but I want something back from it.
Yeah.
And it depends where it fits in the sequence. That's all. That would be my only piece.
Yeah.
I have I just feel that because it's such a busy world right now, I don't mind all these emails. You know what I think the problem is that people do not do enough personally. So for example, I receive emails. I know I'm the right person for these individuals. They send me one email, or they send me 2 emails or 3 emails with exactly the same text, the same. So I don't mind that. I think that is fine. Whether I would actually click to check the AdRoll case study, maybe yes, maybe not. But if you were to follow up on that with another email, you would just break through the noise, like cut through the noise, and I will know then who you are. And if I know you and I feel that I can talk to you, then I can talk about outreach. And I'm not quite sure how many people think about those emails. It's not of, I want something back from you, I want to book a meeting. I'm just, hey, listen, I'm here. Hey, you are my ideal candidate to have a chat at least. You may not be ready now, but I'll send you another email until you tell me to stop. I just feel that salespeople nowadays do not do enough of that spin in front of those individuals. I do not know how long it's going to take you to be in front of people that you do not know if they will buy, but just be in front of them. It's great. Can I ask you one last question? You have a couple of minutes. If there was one thing that you would like to improve based on the conversation or basic conversation you had with your manager, what is the one? What's the one thing that you're working currently?
What I'm working on currently is how to, because I don't always have nuggets on companies, and they're still my companies to prospect into. So I don't feel confident when I go in cold. Like, I know you're a sales leader. I know you're leading a sales team of X amount of sales reps. It's my job to call you, but I don't have anything personalized. And I get very call reluctant when I'm faced with that situation. So that's my biggest challenge right now.
Okay. So if you don't have something on that individual, either account or the contact, you must have like a persona-led framework though that you can have attention grabbers and ways to open up.
I asked that question because you said that on your email that you spend about 25 to 30 minutes trying to identify trigger events, personality.
Yeah, for each company,
So you're trying to
25 minutes per company.
Yeah.
Okay,
minimum.
that's a long. If you saw the email from Ellisif, I didn't expect that you would give me that as an answer, that you need to have something personalized to go by. But I mean, Tom obviously would work with you guys, but Sandler doesn't really promote that, right? You have a solution. You solve 3 or 4 problems for this kind of persona. That's all you need to know, and just you need to go out there. I wonder if it's like the way you've been approaching sales all this time, but to invest 25-30 minutes a day to figure out what a company could fit in your persona, how you can actually open up the conversation, I think it takes away from what I think I've witnessed today, your strongest point, which is that communication, that salesmanship that you have naturally. And the more you research, the more you just don't get out there and you don't use your strongest point. You just don't need to know every single bit. Your opening, it wasn't personalized on the phone, but your delivery was great to start talking, to start the conversation. You just don't need that. That's probably maybe a it's you know, like the dummy effect. You know, babies, they need a dummy. You take it away, and it's for a while they just don't know what to do. You start. You just need to. You don't need that. You do not need to know every single bit of detail that you can find on LinkedIn to approach someone.
That's interesting.
You're natural in sales, so.
Okay, that's yeah. That gives me something to think about and keep in mind going forward for sure.
The reason why that's important is because we all have targets, right? You are part of a hypergrowth unicorn SaaS company, right? We have high targets and we have high expectations. So we're not selling £1 million deals, right? So when you're selling £1 million plus deals, then you do that because that's required. But your ACV is probably somewhere between 25 and 40K probably for the market you're going after. And what you got to do is think of it like a speedboat. If old school speedboats used to have these two things, you push them forward, you go in the right direction. But if you push one of them harder than the other, you veer off, right? And so that's the quality versus quantity balance that you have to find. I think you have a phenomenal personality, high energy. You're very intelligent. You've got great work ethic and drive. That you should just feel confident being able to pick up the phone and have those persona-led conversations and be able to handle the situation when it hits you. But really importantly, be prepared to fail. It's not always going to go your way. Okay, it's not always going to go your way. Sometimes it's going to suck, and we fall flat on our ass. But that happens. We learn from it. But actually, if you embrace that a little bit more, I think if you can get that 25 minutes down to 5 minutes, spend those other 20 minutes actually dialing, and have more conversations with people. That would be the thing that I'll leave you with.
That's really helpful, actually. So yeah.
Okay, don't be afraid to fail, by the way. Don't be like, so long as you're in an environment where it's okay to do that and it's safe to do so, and you're being coached. And I know Tom would put you in that environment, so you're in a good place, by the way. But don't be afraid to do that, because we don't always get it right. It's a really hard part to sales, and if you can embrace that now, I think you'll really allow yourself to scale a little bit more.
Yeah, well, thank you for that.
Okay, guys, I think we're gonna have to close this off because we're at the top of the hour. But
great session. Well done.
Did you get what you wanted from this?
Me? Absolutely.
Great. Well,
really
I hope it was helpful for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. Costas and Kate, always a pleasure. Let's close it off there. And for everyone watching, catch us next week on the next episode of 5onFriday.
Bye, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.